What is a backdoor Roth IRA? Is there actually a way around the Roth IRA income caps? How do I go about executing a backdoor Roth IRA? What's up, everyone, and welcome back to one of my videos. Today, we're going to talk about a common question that I've been getting, which is what are backdoor Roth IRAs and how do they work? Before we dive into that, though, let's briefly touch on what a Roth IRA actually is. So a Roth IRA is just a special type of stock brokerage account. It's a retirement specific account. And how they work is they allow you to contribute any money that you make after taxes, which is considered earned income. And you can add that money within that account and buy stocks, ETF, or mutual funds. And all of the stocks or mutual funds and assets that you buy within that account will grow tax-free. So once you hit the retirement age required in the account, which is 59 and a half, you can actually withdraw any of your stocks or assets into cash and withdraw them out of that account completely tax-free. So it's a pretty cool account. It's probably one of the best tax benefits that are out there. Now, that being said, there are some restrictions to these tax-free growth accounts. The first restriction is that the maximum amount you can contribute to a Roth IRA for 2022 is $6,000 if you're younger than 50. Now, if you're older than 50, you can actually add an additional $1,000, bringing your total to $7,000 as your max contribution. That's only if you're older than 50, though. And that's kind of like a way that you can play catch up if you're kind of behind on your retirement. Now, the second big restriction to these accounts is the income restriction. And this is, of course, where a backdoor Roth IRA comes into play. So in order to contribute the maximum amount in 2022, your income has to be less than $129,000 per year if you're single and $204,000 per year if you're married and filing jointly. Now, you can still contribute directly into a Roth IRA account if your income is below $144,000 if you're single and $214,000 if you're married, but those contributions are going to phase out once you are above the amount that I said previously. So the big question of the day is, what happens if you make above the Roth IRA income limit, and is there a way around it? Well, as you might guess, there is, and it's referred to as the backdoor Roth IRA. So what is the backdoor Roth IRA? Now, a backdoor Roth IRA is just a tax strategy. It's not a specific account. It's just a strategy to kind of get around that Roth IRA income limit, hence the backdoor part. Although this strategy has existed since around 2010, there is a pending law that could close up this tax loophole if passed in 2022. We'll talk about more on that a little bit later. But let's go ahead and dive into kind of the details. Basically, the way a backdoor Roth IRA works is that you would first make a contribution to a non-deductible traditional IRA. And for those who don't know what that is, a non-deductible traditional IRA is an account to where you would contribute with your after-tax money. So you have paid taxes on the money you are contributing within that account. In other words, no contribution on this account will be deducted on your taxes. Only after-tax money can go into Roth IRAs. So if you deduct contributions on a traditional IRA that you have, you'll owe that tax deduction back, and the pro rata tax rule will apply. If you aren't sure what the pro rata tax rule is, I'll leave a link in the description to give a great article that explains in detail kind of how that works. Okay, so once you have your money in a non-deductible traditional IRA, the next step is going to be opening up a Roth IRA if you haven't already. Ideally, you'll want to have an account with the same brokerage. That way, it'll just make it easier when you start transferring the traditional IRA into the Roth IRA. So once you have both accounts open, the third and final step is going to be starting the conversion. So you can usually contact your stock brokerage on like whatever firm you're with, like just give them a call or an email and they can usually help get that transfer set up. Each brokerage's process will be a little bit different. So just contact your broker to get more information on how to start that with them. Now, you'll want to be careful with this backdoor conversion. If you don't follow these rules closely, you can get hit with a big tax bill at the end of the year. Your best bet, of course, is to talk with a tax professional before making any big moves on your own. That way you can make sure no surprises come up at the end of the year and no surprise tax bills specifically come up. So the backdoor Roth IRA can be a great tax strategy for those who make too much to contribute directly into a Roth IRA. So the bottom line is that a backdoor Roth IRA has been used for years, and it's a great strategy for wealthy individuals who make over the income cap that a Roth IRA has set. So it's a good loophole to potentially use in order to take advantage of the tax-free growth a Roth IRA allows. Now, as I mentioned earlier, let's go ahead and touch on the pending bill that could put an end to this loophole. If the bill known as the Build Back Better plan does pass at its current form, it would put an end to the backdoor Roth IRAs as of 2022. Although the bill did stall in December of 2021, if the bill does pass in 2022 at its current form, they could require all of the people who use the backdoor Roth IRA in 2022 to pay a penalty unless they include a grandfather clause or extend that dates. So this is, of course, the big risk that you'd have to consider if you are a high income earner and you're planning to use this strategy in 2022. So of course, my advice is it's best to talk with a tax professional to consider the risk based on your personal tax situation and income situation. Well, that's it for today. I hope this video helped clear up any confusion around the backdoor Roth IRA strategy. As always, this video is only meant and intended for educational purposes. If you have any questions regarding your personal tax situation, please reach out to a tax professional that can talk over your specific tax situation. Well, have a great rest of your day. And as always, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it.